So good evening to all. Welcome all to this an introduction to NatCap online awareness training. So why we are conducting this training program? We are under this lockdown situation. We have to maintain social distancing. Most of us are working from home. Few of them are looking for some learning opportunities. So we'd like to utilize this time and try to educate the industry for their upskilling, reskilling, learning purposes. So as part of this drive, few weeks back, we have conducted few training program like quality management system for various industries like automotive industry, IATF 16949, then medical devices industries, then railway industry, then AS 9100. These are the training we did it few weeks back. And this week we have planned series of training. I think 14th April we did it for AS 9145, APQ PAP. And today we are going to have this NatCap introduction session. And Saturday 18th, we are going to have FOD controls. These three training specifically made it for aerospace and defense industry. So this training session goes like this. It's 1.5 hour session. So end of the session, we have a small quiz and we'll open for question and answer. That's what the pattern. If you attended the quiz and both feedback, and if you secured 60% mark for token of appreciation, we'll give some small certificate. That's what all about this training. If you're concerned about using the Zoom tool, how about your privacy? So all the controls we have considered, the latest update, recommendation, whatever given by the various security industry, we have adopted that. So don't worry about your privacy while using the Zoom tool. Okay. So we are from Nucleus Consultant. We are into management system consulting, training, auditing services. We finished around more than 500 plus projects. For aerospace alone, we did around 30 plus industry. We have a team of 6 people. Myself, I'm a qualified auditor for various standards, including AS 9100, IATF 16949, and medical devices. So these are the services we provide for aviation, space, and defense industry. We do 9100 series of standard, 9100, 9110, 9120. And we also do ISO 13000 series for aero engine industries. And we do NatCap consulting services on various commodities. Similarly, we do some solutions for automotive industry, IATF 16949, the sector specific standards, CQA standards and all. For railways, for medical devices, for various sectors, we offer management system consulting services. So this is what all about us. And general industries, we know quality management, environmental management, information security, occupational health and safety, social compliances. So we do various services. So I'm Karthi Tyagarajan. I'm IAQG certified auditor. Usually I don't do audits. I'm mostly into training and consulting services. I did few NatCap projects and few AS 9100 consulting services for public sectors and some private organization. So this is what all about me. Okay, now we'll move to the session. What we are going to see today is a small introduction about what is NatCap, why NatCap, and what are the steps involved in this NatCap accreditation process. And end of this, we'll spend more time for question and answers. Because this topic is a bit unique. Very few industries, That too, aviation, space, defense industries can go for NatCap. In India, the penetration of ASD industry is just started. Under Make in India, under Make in Defense, a lot of initiatives are coming up. You could say there are small targeted audiences for this. So that's why we customize this training such a way to give you an overview of what is NatCap. Attending this training, it doesn't make you a subject matter expert, but it will give you an overview how to approach this NatCap. If you have any specific questions, please make a note of it. End of the session, we will open for question and answer. There we are going to answer all your queries. Okay. So now I'll start with some basics, then we will move further. When you say NatCap, what comes to your mind? This NatCap is applicable to whom or applicable for what? Can anyone please share that? You can use the chat window. I can see all your messages. So a lot of messages are coming. It's for special process, aerospace requirement. Very good. Good. It's a good audience. They already know what is NatCap. If you're not aware about what is NatCap, or even if you already know what is NatCap, there's a combination of participants. Okay, well, I'll balance both. Then we'll start with this now. So whatever the processes name you have typed, I have just put it in this. Can you see a small aircraft here? Non-metallic manufacturing, coatings, composites. So whatever you typed, right? So I'll go one by one. First of all, what do you mean by special process? Everyone knows NatCap is for special process, correct? Then what is special process? The examples we all know, welding, coating, soldering and all. But what do you mean by special process? Why these processes are called as special processes? So we could say like this, special processes are those processes where the parameters are going to directly influence the component geometry, or it's going to influence the results which cannot be confirmed by any inspection. If you look at ISO 9000 point of view, an output of a process which cannot be monitored by subsequent measurement and monitoring, that is called as special process. So this is what the simple definition. I think most of us are aware about that. Now I'll move to the next question. What are all special processes? We all know the answers, right? Most of us listed out all your special processes. If you look at this diagram, I have put at machining. Is machining is a special process? Machining is a special process. So there are mixed answers. Few people say no, few people say yes. Okay, let's go further. I'll stop this questioning. Okay, most of the aerospace defense industry are certified to AS 9100. What AS 9100 talks about special process? There is one class we might have aware about, 8.5.1.2. that is IAQG unique requirement, which says validation and control of special processes. It says for the processes where the resulting output cannot be verified by subsequent monitoring or subsequent measurement, the organization must have some arrangements for those processes, which means you need to qualify the process, qualify the equipment, qualify the facility, qualify the persons, right? There are some methodologies. This is what talks about in AS 9100. To control this special process, what we do? Presently, what we do? We have all the controls. Our customers may lay down some standards, process specification, correct? We do testing, we go for NADCAP accreditation, right? So that's why with this discussion, I will like to move further. So this give you some broad idea, what is special process? For special process, what our quality management system is addressing and what presently we are doing. This NADCAP, formerly it's known as National Aerospace and Defense Contractor Accreditation Program. Now it is not that exact abbreviation, it's become a NADCAP as a word. It's an industry managed program for the conformity assessment of entire special processes. It brings the industry, the technical expert, the prime contractors, even representative from the regulatory. So all jointly developed a program to approve a supplier's special processes using some standardized approach. This is not like other third-party certification, like our quality management system certificate. NADCAP approval is purely granted based on industry agreement. This is what exact definition of NADCAP. It's a leading worldwide international cooperation program for major aerospace and defense companies. The ultimate purpose is it is not only applicable for special processes, it is also applicable for products. Don't assume NADCAP is only for special processes. It's also applicable some of the products. We'll see that what it is. So NADCAP is part of PRI, Performance Review Institute, and this PRI was created by Society for Automotive Engineers, SAE International. So NADCAP does independent certification of your manufacturing processes and some products. So before moving further, I would like to introduce few terms. Some of you might have familiar with these terms, but I would like to emphasize this one more time. Have you heard about this terminology? Subscribers, suppliers, eAuditNet, ITAR, QML, QPL. So these are some of the terms. When you are implementing NADCAP, you came across these type of terms. Let's see a small few terminologies. Subscriber. See, these are all mainly aerospace defense prime organization. We'll use the word OEM in other industry, whereas in aerospace defense business, we call them as prime contractor. So prime companies who completed an agreement, who have design authority, who wants to control their suppliers' special processes and products. Even sometimes the government regulators also be part of the subscriber, but typically it's a purchaser or engineering authority. These people are called as subscribers. These people are also called as NADCAP users. Then suppliers like manufacturers, processors, distributors, correct? So these people are called as suppliers. These are the two terms I would like to discuss here. So eAuditNet, this is the electronic audit network. It's a computer application website. All the informations, it's like a library for us. All the informations relevant to NatCap is available in that particular website. And ITAR, EAR, these two terms are very important when you started doing business for aerospace industry, particularly to US. So these two requirements are very critical. You have to reach your customer contract, even customer drawing specification, make sure your parts are fall under ITAR, EAR requirement. If your parts fall under this, there are some restrictions. Anyone cannot come and audit your organization. There are some classified ITAR approved auditors can only come and audit. So this is mainly regulate the military products and how to control the export licensing data. And so don't get surprised when we use the word ITAR, EAR. Now recently PRI come up with a new program, PRI qualification. Again, jointly industry wanted to qualify the aerospace individual and operators, welders, and heat treatment operator, right? If you want to qualify those individuals, now PRI is coming with some new qualifications. This is very new. Recently they have launched this. This is not yet reached the Indian market. And of course, PRI conducts a lot of training like what we do now. This QML, once your company is certified for NatCap, your name will be listed there. That is qualified manufacturer list. And there is a QPL is there. So that is for PRI is going to certify your product based on your product qualification against some specification. If your product is QPL, means straight away you supply to various industries, including MRO industry. And SAE, yeah, they only make the PRI, and PRI runs the NatCap program. These are some of the terms I would like to highlight here. The staff engineer, this is a term we are going to started hearing. Otherwise, we call them as SE, staff engineer. They are individual who is having enough competent for that particular field, either welding or NDT or heat treatment or EDM, whatever you call them. So they have individual competency. So what they do is, on behalf of the organizations, they are part of task group. So they are like supporting staff. They are member of PRI and NatCap. These are some of the terms I'd like to address here before this. Now, NatCap is not the only program run by PRI. PRI conduct a lot of programs. For example, for aerospace special processes and products, it is NatCap. And for medical devices industry, PRI conducts a program called as MedAccred. For transportation power generation industry, they have TPG. We have seen QPL, qualified product listing. And they have also launched now COP. It's counterfeit avoidance accreditation program. That's another accreditation program launched by PRI. And PRI also does the PRI qualification, what we discussed now. And PRI also does 9100 certificate as a third party register. So these are the various accreditation industry program operated by Performance Review Institute. So NatCap is not the only their cup of tea. They do a lot of other industry oriented accreditation program. So this is what all about NatCap. Now, have you heard about this particular name? Have you seen your customer name here? There were around 190 participants. Okay, any of you are working in this company? Have you representing this organization here today? Yeah, the text may be small. I'll move it to some logo. Now it's look like. Can you recognize these logos, brands? Good. These people are called as subscriber. We have seen one definition, right? Who is subscriber? Which means they are the prime contractors who is having design authority, we use OEM, right? So they make some components or subsystem or system. So these subscribers mandate NatCap to their suppliers. So NatCap has offices at various places. Their international headquarters is located in Pennsylvania, USA. And they have offices in UK. In Asia, they have 2 offices, China and Japan. But most of the communication happens through eAuditNet. Some of the myths and rumors about NatCap I would like to discuss here. Some people say it's an American system. Initially it was actually. Now it is not an American system. Most of the subscribers are from Europe, so it is an Europe system. Some people may claim that. No, it is not even that. It's an international accreditation cooperational program. It's an international system. And most of the people have said it's very expensive. No, it is not at all expensive. Even if you compare your AS 9100 certificate, it's similar to that. It depends on the commodity, what you do, what are the process you do. If it is ITAR part or non-ITAR part, it's vary. Approximately, we could say it's coming around $6,000 to $8,000. That's what the cost is fixed actually. It's very transparent because PRI itself a non-profit organization. And there is one more rumor we could say, the auditors are very tough. The staff engineers are very rude or tough. No, not at all. They are subject matter experts. They don't go beyond what is written in the checklist or rule book. And some people may say there is no reduction in my PRIME's audit, even though I am certified to NatCap, but my customers are keep on coming for audit. Typically, they don't much bother about your special processes once you have NatCap accreditation. The audit may be done it for other purposes, not for qualifying your special process. And some people, even decision makers, worry about it's going to affect my productivity because I have to put all my effort. It slow down my process. It slow down my production time. No. If you look at the long term, if you have an effective NatCap, you can save a lot of time, cost. The reduction rates are drastically reduced. You can avoid a lot of customer complaints. So this I would like to address at this forum. So who gives NatCap accreditation? It is not the auditor is going to give. There is a task group. After successful an audit, task group only gives the accreditation. NatCap audits are performed by the checklist, the standard checklist. Even this checklist also developed by the task groups. When you say task group is nothing but representatives with that particular subject matter expertise from the prime contractors. These are all part of the task group. So typically, the checklist is very important document. The entire NatCap program is based on those checklists. As an organization, if you are implementing, we need to work based on this checklist. Even consultants, when we do consultancy services, we need to go as per this checklist. Even the NatCap auditors who is come and audit your facility, they need to follow the checklist. So this checklist itself contains a lot of information specific to your processes. So what exactly the task group is? The primes nominating some subject matter expertise to the task group. The representatives may be from the manufacturers, design authorities, even government representatives, even sometimes suppliers also. But they must have the subject matter expertise. So they take care of entire NatCap program, granting the accreditation, even preparing the audit checklist, even auditor approvals, your continual improvement of entire NatCap program, everything is managed by this particular task groups. Each and every step in NatCap is managed by the industry for the industry. For example, let's go one by one. audit checklist. The subscriber, the government authorities, they participate in this audit checklist development process. Each and every line which is in the checklist, those are all industry requirement. Aerospace industry needs that. We have to respect it. We have to honor it. And they keep on revising the checklist. If you are already exposed to this NatCap, you might have clearly understood that how frequent you get this checklist revisions. Can anyone please answer that? If you are already certified to NatCap, how frequent you receive the revisions in the checklist? For example, let's take our AS 9100. It's based on a quality management system standard. They revise us it maybe once in 5 years, right? How about NatCap checklist? How frequent they will revise it? The average, every 6 months you may see some changes, average. Some checklists there may be not change. It depends on the industry needs. So the industry is very active on this. So they keep on watching what is happening in this industry. For example, let's take electronics. A lot of changes happening in electronics industry, especially the counterfeit part. That's why we have separate program, na, CAAP. Even now, welding industry. We are all talking about now additive manufacturing, correct? 3D printing. NatCap launched a program for additive manufacturing also. So this is completely industry operated. So they keep on going, watch what is happening in the industry. Accordingly, they will revise the audit checklists. Even the selection of auditor, the qualification of auditor, everything is done by this task group. The interviewing the individuals and qualifying them, checking their competency, train them, everything is managed by the task group. Then planning of the audit, performing of an audit, the controlling the entire audit program, logistic support is done by them, industry technically. This one I would like to emphasize here. Most of the organization may not aware about this. What will happen if your company is implementing NatCap, audit was happened, there were some non-conformities, the non-conformities are also closed, then you got NatCap accreditation. Now, after some time, you will receive a mail from your customer saying that, hey, you had some NatCap audit some time back, there are some NCs observed, looks like major NC, whether this NC is affecting my part. You may get this type of mails from your customers, which means the subscriber can observe the communication between what is happening between you and PRI staff. The NC is reported on your organization can be viewed by subscriber. Even the corrective action, the final decision on granting accreditation also done by the task group based on some voting mechanism and ongoing evaluation. Everything is, each and every activity is managed by the industry for the industry. So these are the various commodities covered under NatCap. The one is basic aerospace quality system. If you don't have AS 9100, this will replace that. And chemical processing, coatings, composites, conventional machining as a special process. That's what I asked the question. Is that turning, milling is a special process? Few people said yes, people said no. But as far as NatCap definition, it is a special process. Then elastomer seals, it's a product. Electronics, then fluid distribution systems, heat treatment, the material testing laboratories. Look at this, measurement and inspection itself a special process. How many of you use a CMM for measuring your components? Anyone use CMM in your industry? Almost every industry in aerospace industry uses that, right? So the CMM measuring and inspection itself is a special process. Then MMM, this is recently launched program, forging industry, metallic materials manufacturing. Then non-conventional machining and surface enhancement. Then NDT, non-metallic material manufacturing, testing of those non-metallic materials. Then sealants, weldings. So these are all the various commodities covered under NatCap. They consider these are all the special processes for aerospace and military industry. So these are all the special processes and these are all the products. When I say systems, it is aerospace quality system, either AS 9100 equivalent to that. They call it as AC 7004 or AC 7006. Clear? So now, why NatCap? There are a lot of reasons. Because industry wanted to reduce risk in their supply chain. That when you're producing aerospace component, quality, safety, reliability are very crucial. The supply chain is spread across the globe. Whatever the basic quality management system you have, whatever the controls you already established, it is not sufficient for the industry. So each and every special processes, they have identified it. So it's very critical to monitor those special processes, and it will be very costly, cost manner also. Every time the prime contractors will come and audit your process, if there is any process change, approval, it's very critical to control it. So to address all these steps, they have launched this program. And we have already discussed on various previous trainings, this entire industry is highly regulated. We need to demonstrate the airworthiness of your product. So some of the regulatory authorities recognizes NatCap. It is not just prime contractors mandate NatCap. For example, if you look at EASA, they have recognized this NatCap. So there are various reasons behind this NatCap. It will replaces the customer routine audits for special process controls. Through the consistent requirement, because they made very clear requirement for every sector, every commodity. So we can improve quality. The audits are in-depth. It's not tough audit, we could say it's in-depth audit. It's a technical process audit. I think if you are exposed to automotive industry, we do manufacturing process audit there, product audit there. But it's different from that. It's completely different. It's more technical, in-depth process audit. The auditors, whoever comes and audit you, they are expert in that particular field. It's not like a generic auditor come and audit your process. It's always the subject matter experts who will come and visit and audit you. Right? These are some of the reasons why NatCap has introduced. Now, how many of your customers have demanded this NatCap? I think few of or most of the participants or your organizations are certified for NatCap, right? Why your customers are mandated it, or which are the customers mandated it? All prime customers. Okay, I will go this way. Let's take HAL, Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. Whether HAL mandated NatCap? Let's take our Ministry of Defense Industry. some of the public sector production houses, DRDO, whether they have mandated NatCap? So then who mandated NatCap to us? So most of the time it's the prime contractors. If you look at who are all accredited for NatCap in India, HAL is accredited for NatCap. HAL, you call them as a subscriber, but they have accredited for NatCap. There is no restriction, it is only for suppliers. Even subscriber can also go for NatCap. I'm just going to a list, a small list. This will give you some picture. This is Airbus supplier NatCap accreditation policy. The font may not be visible to you. I'll go to the next page. Look at this. So this is which year onwards, which commodity they make mandate. Which means without NatCap, we can't supply any product to them. If you look at here, they started with, in 2019 onwards, they've made aero structure assemblies mandate for them, for commercial aircrafts. For defense space, from 2020, this year onwards, aero structure assembly NatCap is mandatory. Look at chemical processing, including painting. It started 2005 onwards. So this is one example. Similar way, if we name any prime contractors, we have listed a lot of names, right? Honeywell, Thales, UTAS, right? So all these subscriber mandated NatCap. So this is the another policies. We have mentioned recently Triple M program has launched for forgings. So they have mandated this now. So this is what Airbus mandates. Bombardiers, you can name any prime. Look at here, prime names you can see. Honeywell. So Honeywell mandates composites, chemical processing, coatings, electronics, heat treatment, material testing lab, NDT, non-conventional machining, welding, Lockheed Martin. So they have mandated few commodities. Saffron, they almost all commodities they mandated. Parker, Rolls-Royce, Boeing, UTAS, all their groups, Collins, Proton Whitney. So this is how the requirement of NatCap reached to you. Sometimes what will happen, it's like chicken or egg. Without an aerospace contract, it's very difficult for us to claim NatCap. And without NatCap, we cannot be able to deliver any product to them because it's mandated, right? So this is how it goes. So talk to the PRI and demonstrate your position, then have a clarity on this. Or talk to your customer, get a PO, and go for NatCap, then go for commercial POs. So now, what is there in the NatCap audit checklist? If we look at audit checklist, it's very important document. We don't use the word standard here, whereas in other certifications or accreditation, we refer some standard, ISO standard or SAE standard. Here we call them as checklist, audit checklist. So this checklist consists of industry standard. Let's take electronics industry. What is the standard we used in electronics products? Industry standard. Can you name that standard? Anyone, please? For electronics industry, what is the industry standard we are using for the manufacturing of product or for the product? Can anyone please? Yeah, Supreet says IPC. Mayura says IPCA. Correct, perfect. That is what industry standard for electronics industry. Let's go for welding. Can anyone just name what is the industry standard used for welding? Yeah, Anand Shanmugam says AWS, correct, right? So what they did is they took the applicable industry standard for that particular process, and every customer having their own requirement, additional requirement. So it is not always the industry standard. They include the customer requirements and industry standard. Then the task group has their own requirements. So all put together, the audit checklist was developed. And there are some handbooks available, audit handbooks, how to implement this further. So typically, this is how the checklist made. So the task groups from primes and suppliers, even some regulatory agencies, so they collect the applicable industry standard and customer specific prime requirements, and they develop the audit. The audit checklist looks like this. This is one sample. Actually, this is based on 7121 for cable harness. It says like this. See, what is your methodology for storage, handling, and material control of your products and hardwares? It has two functions. One is, what is your procedural requirement? What is your compliance requirement? The checklists are very simple. Everything is black and white here. There is no gray area. There is a question. You need to say yes or no. That's it. When you say yes, you have to prove it in procedure, which means you have to prove it in your process, and also you have to prove it in compliance. So it's not just in paper, it should be on the process also. If you get one no, means you won't get NADCAP, which means there is a non-conformity. If there is a not applicable clause, look at this. Here there are some questions, right? Yes, no, and non-applicability for the question. There are three options exist, which means you have to prove that engineeringly this not applicable is proven, that in customer drawing, in customer specification, it is not applicable. So I can go for it. Unless otherwise specified by your engineering authority, you cannot claim that not applicability. It's applicable to you. So you have only two options, yes or no. You have only one. There is no option. Everything should be yes. So this is what all about NADCAP. It looks like simple, neat, but the devil is in detail. See, this is one more example. I took it from welding actually. Maybe this is fusion welding. Yeah. See, look at this. Sometimes they have a general plain checklist requirement, and they do have supplemental requirement. This is also called a supplemental requirement. See here what it says. Look at 5.3. It simply says, is there any procedure for electrode control? That's it. But look at supplemental. If it says additional control, what is the process? How you are going to purchase this consumable? How you are going to do incoming inspection of this consumable? How you will verify the supplier test certificate of this? So every question you need to address it in two ways. Address it in your process and procedure and prove it in compliance. In addition to that, there are user supplemental criteria. There are, for example, U1 is the number user, NADCAP user, subscriber. U1 is given to Honeywell. Honeywell may have some additional requirements. In addition to whatever you have seen in the earlier checklist, in addition to that, this is some more user specific supplemental criteria. So this is supplemental checklist. So the checklist looks like this. There are core checklist. Then there are slash sheet checklist. For example, welding is a core checklist. But what type of welding you do? Is it EBW? then there is a slash checklist applicable. Is it spot welding? Is it fusion welding? So it depends on what type of processes you do, the slash checklist is applicable to you. In addition to that, there are some supplemental checklists. What is your customer? Who is your subscriber? So when you are implementing NatCap, first you need to identify what are all the applicable checklists to your processes. You define it. That's the first step we need to do. So this is the overall process. I could try to give it in one picture. So you got some communication from your customer or even potential customer. Without NatCap, no, we can't do business with you. So you got some mandate from your subscriber. So then you explore what is this, what are the applicable checklist. Then once you implemented all, then you have to request audit through eauditnet.com. Then the audit will be scheduled. Some auditor will assigned by PRA. We don't know which auditor will come to you. The auditor may come from anywhere in the globe. Even though you have auditor next to your same city, the NatCap takes a call whom to send where. So once you are ready for audit, the auditor will come and perform an audit and they will submit the report. That's it. That's the role of auditor. Then after that, the root cause corrective action that goes to PRA staff review. Auditor will not going to close the non-conformities. Whereas in other management system, other certification, auditor will review the non-conformity and he can close it, right? But here it is not. So PRA technical staff will review. If your response, non-conformity, root cause corrective action is acceptable, they will accept it. Otherwise, they will send it back to you for further clarification. Once it is approved, then it is projected to task group. Task group reviews the entire corrective actions. Then finally, the decision on accreditation will be taken. This is the overall process. Keep your questions with you. We'll open for Q&A. That time, definitely, I'm going to answer all your queries. But there are some prerequisites we need to understand even before applying for NatCap. NatCap needs a basic quality system. As minimum, you should have AC 7004, a standard developed by NatCap itself. There is a checklist, or AS 9100 certificate is acceptable. But when you are claiming I have AS 9100, but make sure you are not excluded special process class 8512, because with excluding this, we cannot be able to demonstrate NatCap. Clear? Okay, so you should have a valid AS 9100 certificate. Make sure you are not excluded special process there. Or no, I don't want AS 9100. So okay, you can go with AC 7004. It is for manufacturer. If you are a testing laboratory, you should have ISO 17025, which means NABL in India, or equivalent to that, they have their own standard AC 7006. So this is the basic quality system requirement. It's a prerequisite. Without this, we cannot able to go for audit. So this is the overall process. So you register yourself as a user in eAuditNet, identify who is your subscriber, identify the commodity, identify the checklist, right? Once you are through, schedule an audit, make sure you have valid AS 9100 certificate during audit, right? Then before that, perform a lot of self-audit, job audit. Then auditor will come and perform an audit. And finally, if any NCs, you have to give a corrective action. If no NCs, task group will review your audit reports and they will grant the accreditation. So this is the overall process. If you are new to NatCap, or you are planning to go for NatCap, or you are planning to expand your NatCap scope, what to do? This is the simple steps I could say. It may be day 1, day 2, day 3, or step 1, whatever you want to name it. This is just a milestone. So identify the subscriber, select the commodity. Very importantly, form your core team. Most of the organization lacks this, failing to address this. When you say core team, we need subject matter experts there. We need purchasing, HR, top management commitment. So a lot of factors involved in this. Most of the time in your organization, who is responsible for this NatCap? Which process owner owns this NatCap accreditation? Can you just type the process owner name? In your organization, if you are having NatCap accreditation, tell me which process owner owns this NatCap accreditation. Quality, QMS, MR. See, no one says production. Why? Rarely Mr. Venkateshan only says manufacturing. Yeah, Ajay Tiwari also agreeing. If you are already accredited, so we cannot pinpoint one particular process, right? So that's why we need a cross-functional team approach. Okay, once you did with that, then identify the checklist, make sure the part is ITAR, because there is sometimes what will happen without reviewing all these things, after scheduling an audit, you came to know, no, this is an ITAR part, right? So we have to make sure the ITAR is clearly decided in advance. Then qualify the process, qualify the machine, qualify the personnels, qualify the equipment, qualify the infrastructure. This is very critical stage, I could say. If you look at the top 10 NCs, it's always appearing on this column day 3 and day 4, whatever written here. Sometimes we will, the competent people are there, but process is not that much strong. Sometimes you have very strong documentation, very strong processes, but sometimes the human factors playing a role. So we have to train the team. Train again and again and again. Do a lot of self-audit. Then only your NatCap journey starts. So NatCap is just a journey. Once you got NatCap accreditation doesn't mean you're finished. No. There's a journey you have to start. So what will happen during audit? So the auditor will perform an audit using the checklist, whatever the scope you already agreed. The auditor will review the scope. Rarely modifications are allowed during the audit. For example, sometimes you have the capability, but you say, no, I don't want this in my audit scope. Sometimes auditor will say, you without capability, you have claimed some scope in your application. So this will be discussed with the staff engineer and it will be sorted. That is the very first step auditor will do when he visits your premises. Scope verification. Then job audit. This is very critical part in the entire NatCap. We know audit. What is job audit? Job audit means step by step, inch by inch review of your special process on actual hardware. How you are meeting the industry requirement, how you are meeting the customer requirement, how you are meeting the audit checklist requirement. Typically, during a NatCap audit, they will do more than 2 or 3 job audit. It depends on the commodity what you select. Make sure you have actual hardware, particularly the aerospace hardware. Sometimes what will happen, you might have scheduled the audit. During audit, you may not have a component with you, you may not have a hardware with you. Then there is a very critical stage. You have to inform this well in advance. You have to plan that during, because we are going to demonstrate your capability, your technical capability. We can't do paper audit. No, I have produced this component last month. Can you do a document verification? No, it is not at all possible in NatCap. Right? But very few processes, it can be done. For example, a curing process. Yesterday you have started the curing activity. Today it may get finished. That can be verified. But we cannot say, I have already made a component last week. It was dispatched. You can audit the paper, means it's very difficult to do. So NatCap audit is always performed on the actual hardware. That too aerospace hardware. So the NatCap auditors perform the job audit. If there is any non-conformity, it will be reported. The non-conformities are classified into major non-conformity, minor non-conformity, like any other management systems. But here the definition of major NC, minor NC little bit get varied. For example, a non-conformity, the effect impacts or it has some potential impact of the integrity of the product, that can be classified as a major NC. Sometimes non-sustaining corrective action, repeated non-conformities observed. Last audit the same NC, again this audit also same NC, that can be treated as a major NC. Minor means a single system failure. The product, the defective part may not reach to your customer, something like that. That can be treated as a minor. For example, paperwork issues, some minor changes we are not upgraded like that. So corrective actions for minor NCs, sometime auditor may accept on site. For example, day one, there will be some minor NCs. If you correct it, auditor may accept it. Some auditor will put that in the report, but still the decision of accepting the NC is up to the auditor, or staff review will do that. That will be decided by the auditor. So typically, auditor will give you the complete NCs. That's the role of auditor. That's it. After that, there is no role of auditor here. But before auditor leaving your premises, make sure you have understood completely what is the NC, against which class of the checklist it is NC. Have that clarity. Most of the organization fails to do that, because the person who raised the NC is not going to close your non-conformity. So you should have clear clarity what is behind what is the reason behind this non-conformity. Then auditee has to provide RCCA, root cause corrective action. NatCap has their own style of RCCA that only we need to follow. Every NC has to submit it along with some objective evidence. It may be some procedure revisions, training records, some electronic evidences, lab reports. It depends on the NCs. And don't share some restricted technical information, right, while sharing the non-conformity evidences. That also we have to consider here. This is very critical stage we should understand. See, once you submitted your RCCA, root cause corrective action, a staff engineer who sits somewhere, they are going to review, not the auditor. So you have some timeline. Within 21 days, you have to give your response, that we call it as first response. If you got clear understanding of what is NC, if you give proper RCCA, first attempt, your response may be accepted. Now, I am here going to ask one more question to this forum. How many response you have attempted for a NatCap NC closures? Maximum response? Can anyone just type? If you are already NatCap accredited company. 3. The average I could say is 2. Most of the time, whatever the response we give, straight away it is not accepted by the staff engineer. I'm repeating, because the NC is booked by other person, the reviewer sits in different continent, and the response what we give, it's in a different language, right? There will be a lot of misunderstanding. If you do it in first attempt, really great, Mr. Ajay. But the average, it may go at least one more response time. But there is a deadline here. You are allowed to have only 4 responses. And each response, you have 7 days time. After 4 responses, still your NC is not accepted, means your audit is considered as failed audit. So we have to be very careful while responding your non-conformities. So this is a typical NatCap RCCA process. If any non-conformity is booked in a NatCap audit, form a team, identify the problem, first collect, verify the data, take some containment action, determine the root cause, right? So when you say root cause, direct root cause, contributing root cause, consider it, then determine proper corrective action, adopt mistake proofings, then verify the actions and follow up, finally close it. So it's a very, very big process. They do have a different guideline. We have a different training modules how to do this. Okay, So sometimes what will happen, auditors may not book any non-conformity, or they may book only 2 NCs. Reviewer may book some additional NC. There is always possibilities. While reviewing the papers, based on your submission for root cause corrective action, the staff engineer, the task group may raise some more NCs. There is always chances. Rarely they will strike out the auditor's NCs. So the risk and opportunity both are there. So finally, once the NC is closed, the entire audit packet is moved to task group. So task group reviews this, and finally they grant the accreditation. For first time initial audit, the accreditation is valid for 12 months. After that periodic audit, if you got one NC, means every year there will be an audit. If there is no NC for after re-accreditation, maybe second year, there is a concept called as supplier merit. So this is that supplier merit, which means without NC, if you are maintaining good track record, there are some restrictions again. For example, you have audit for 4 days. Day 1, how many major NCs you got? Day 2, how many NCs you got? Day 3, how many minor NCs you got? Based on the threshold, they have their own formula. Based on that, you may apply for eligibility for this merit. You may have a possibility to extend your accreditation for 18-month accreditation or even 24-month accreditation. I think most of the organizations have claimed merit. It's not a big deal. If you have a strong process, if you have clarity on what you are doing, you can eligible for this. So finally, a NatCap certificate looks like this. So NatCap is given to which company, which address, which commodity, right? In which, for example, electronics, it's not just like electronics. In electronics, what is it? PCB board or assembly board or cable harness? You have to clearly specified in this second sheet of this. So there are some chances of suspension or withdrawal of accreditation. Sometimes it happens, many times it happens. For example, you are not meeting the accreditation norms during audit. Your equipment, critical equipment failed. Sometimes what will happen? The key personnel lost its validity. During audit, power breakdown, I cannot able to demonstrate. So then there is a chances of suspension of accreditation. Your AS 9100 is become invalid. You have not performed your surveillance audit. That certificate expires. Again, there is a chance of suspension. And look at this third one is very critical and important. Unethical behavior, fraudulent activity. If this is being observed, then your accreditation will be suspended and withdrawn. Or sometime audit failure may happen. As we mentioned, a number of threshold NCs. There are multiple options for audit failures. Sometimes audit itself voluntarily cancels the audit. They don't want to enter into that name, black mark. Na? So they will say, no, I don't want this time audit. Then it is called as audit failure. And during audit, you don't have valid AA certificate. The number of NC threshold, then potential actual product impact, falsification, forgery. These are the various situations of audit failures. If you have crossed the NCR cycle more than 4th response time, that is another failure. If you are not responded within the deadline, you are not responded to the non-conformity, obviously it is called as audit failure. Once your audit is failed, you have 2 options in front of you. All failed audit must undergo a risk mitigation audit, then a re-audit will happen. And there is one more option, don't do anything, sit idle for 24 months. You need not to face this risk mitigation audit, straight away you go for fresh audit. So this is what the options for the failed audits. So these are some of the commodities. There are various commodities are there. I have listed few here. For electronics, we have printed boards. Then we have under printed boards, there are 2 slash checklists. For cable harness, there is a core checklist and there are 2 slash checklists. One is for operator qualification, other is for personnel. For 7120 is PCB assembly, there is a core checklist and they have a lot of slash checklists. Similar way, NDT. Core checklist is 7114, so /1 for PT, /2 for MT, like this, /3 for UT, RT, it goes. Similarly for welding. Then even non-conventional machining. Conventional machining, for example, hole making, broaching, turning, milling, grinding and edge treatment. See, unless your customer mandated it, you need not to go for it. That's what I'm trying to emphasize here. Sometimes if you want to know, no, I want to capture that particular business, that is my business model, then you can go for it. But unless mandated by the customer, you need not to go for, because all the NatCap accreditation is mandatory only through your subscriber contractual requirement. Or as part of your business plan, you can do that. So this is some of the tips. Before doing NatCap, do some research, visit this website, read the procedure, or reach people like us, we will guide you. Schedule the audit, the times suits you. This is very important. You have to make sure the physical hardware is available during audit. Otherwise, the whole process, whole effort will go lost if you are not having a physical aerospace hardware. Some rare cases, there may be some situation, for example, COVID crisis and all, even they don't do audit now. So rare situations, you may not have a physical hardware, aerospace hardware. That time you talk to NatCap, PRI, they will tell you. Right? The next, check your quality system. It is not just having AAS certificate. Make sure in that AAS, if you found any non-conformities, that NC also properly closed and that is effectively implemented. Certification committee might have closed the NC and they have grant you the certificate, or they will allow you to retain the surveillance certificate. The concern here is effectiveness of those NCs. You have to be make sure that is properly implemented. Then perform a self audit. Do a lot of self audits. It is recommended to have minimum 3 self audits, recommended only. So job audit we have already discussed, right? It is step by step, inch by inch of auditing your shop floor, auditing your personnel, auditing your machine, auditing your process. For each and every question in the checklist, prove it in your process, prove it in record. And there is a prerequisite. Before 30 days of audit, you have to upload the checklist. So prepare well, face the audit. During audit, if there is no, be brave enough to say no. Don't hide the facts, because that creates a lot of troubles later. Because it may lead to some fraudulent activity, right? Please don't do that. NC can be closed always, right? Mistakes may happen. But before auditor leaving your premises, make sure you understood clearly what is NC. Under what grounds these NCs are issued. Is it against some industry specification? Is it against the prime subscriber requirement or against some checklist requirement? Have this clarity in mind. Right? So this is some numbers I would like to project here. As on today, this morning, India, there are 89 organizations got NatCap accreditation. Out of this, 53 are from Karnataka, 12 are from Tamil Nadu, and few of them from Telangana. Yes, it's a quite huge number. Now it's coming up 750 across India. Karnataka alone have 369. Tamil Nadu has 84. So things are changing around us with respect to aviation, space, defense industry. So these are the websites. eAudit.net, that is the only website you can see that will give you a lot of inputs. Okay, what we can do in NatCap? We can do almost every commodity. Already we did around 8 different commodities. Many commodities we did first time in India. For example, fluid distribution system, electronics. We can do awareness training programs, 1-day training. Even we can do 2 days implementation training on the selected checklist, even /checklist. And we do gap analysis. Or we can do a complete hand-holding project. That also we do. We took a complete project. It depends on the organization. what is their maturity level, what is their decision, business strategy. We provide all these services. So I would like to here communicate one thing to this forum. Next week, we are going to have an AS 9100 Revision D internal auditor training. It is 3 days training. Each day 5 hours. Will start from morning 11 o'clock and end by evening 5 o'clock with 1 hour lunch break between 1 and 2. It's exhaustive training. If you are interested, you can join. It's a paid training. Per head, it is rupees 2,500. Right, the same link, how you have reached this training program, the link can be used for registration, or you can reach us by email, whatever. Okay, so now it's time for question and answers. So before that, I would like to share a small quiz. So let's take 5 minutes for this quiz. If you cannot be able to open the link, don't worry. The link will reach you. Whoever can able to access this quiz link, just try to attempt it. It's not even taking 2 or 3 minutes. You can do that. Yeah. If this link is not opening, don't worry, don't panic. We will send you this link via email. But whoever can able to access this, just try to attempt it. I'll hold for 2 minutes, then I'll come back for question and answers. Please hold your questions.